Okay. So I welcome everybody to this podcast for Unitedfilm, which is a Czech organization that supports independent film, all the way from their conception of these films to their distribution, everything. And of course, we like to gather experience from other filmmakers all over the world. Right now, we have on the other end quite well-known independent filmmaker Kim Sønderholm. I hope that I pronounce it right.
Yeah. It's not bad at all. Hi.
Yeah, and he was an author, director, actor also. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, I primarily an actor. The directing bit is something I kind of fell into by accident, to be quite honest.
Okay. Yeah, so soon we will bring an interview with Kim, so you might read more about his beginnings and also his basically his ideas and his story. So that will be on our website. And right now we will be focusing more on the recent history and overall the environment in Denmark when it comes to film. Not just independent, but also commercial. So hopefully we will get some good insight. I basically discovered Kim through an article on a website, which was called I don't know where it is. Oh yeah, here it is. Cosmorama. And
Yeah, that's a Danish website, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So there was an article in Danish. So I translated it to Czech.
Google Translate is your friend. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I didn't really use the Google Translate.
Okay.
It's kind of complicated story, but I handle it myself. Anyways,
I was kidding. It's sometimes pretty funny to watch those translations, but that's another thing. Never mind.
yeah. Anyways, so there was a part of the article that said basically this. Kim Sønderholm has for several years been among the leading forces in the Danish indie film. Recently, he also worked on an international career, which was also a part of an anthology film, Sinister Visions, with 3 out of 5 short films.
Yeah.
So, that immediately grabbed my attention.
Oh
Also
yeah. Okay.
because you have done a short film called Succubus.
Yeah.
So there was also a picture of the I wouldn't really say protagonist, but of the succubus herself. So that looked pretty interesting.
Yes, that was a big score for that whole makeup thing. That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, the short film itself is actually online, so maybe you could post a link to it with this article. I don't know. That would be interesting for somebody.
Yes, definitely. It's on the Echo film, I think.
Yes, it's there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. At this moment, I mean, not right now, but these days we are working on a website that will specialize in, gathering kind of like a database of free to see movies.
Okay.
So the succubus will also be part of it,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Cool. Well, I might have some other stuff for you as well, but yeah, we can discuss that at some other time.
Yes. So, as I said, there's so much stuff that we are working on right now. But anyways, back to this podcast. Sorry
Yeah.
for derailing a little bit.
No problem.
Okay, so I have noticed, of course, throughout, I think it's been like a year since I discovered the Danish film, especially the independent, that you guys basically work almost all the time. You produce so many short films and do it independently. So how is that possible?
Oh wow. How is it possible? Yeah. I mean, we for the more the bigger films, we do have the Danish Film Institute that kind of supports financially a lot of productions, but I mean, there is a lot of other stuff being produced as well, very independently. You meaning with no support from the institute. And yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's I guess there are just a lot of people in Denmark who is very eager to express themselves and make their own films, even if they have to, well, more or less pay for the whole budget out of their own pockets. Um, which of course demands a lot of you know a lot of favors being called in and stuff like that. But I think there is a lot of interesting stuff being produced in general.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
sorry, I just kind of dropped the. Oh, never mind.
yeah, no problem. I have a connecting question to it.
Yeah,
Recently, actually yesterday, I was talking to one of the local indie directors from this country, and he's pretty good at what he does. He managed to do, to film some really nice short films,
from
but
your country.
yes, from Czech
Oh,
Republic.
yeah. Okay, cool.
But he basically said that it's too much struggle, that people are quite unreliable and it's hard to find resources and all sorts of
True.
problems you can face, and so he basically told me that he just gave up because of this, because like if there is no money involved, then it's really hard to achieve what you need, that you don't get enough support from anything. So what I
Yeah,
want to know is how you guys manage to overcome this. How do you face this? How do you prevent yourself from quitting?
we haven't overcome it at all. I mean, there is a lot of people who are not serious at all about it. I mean, okay, this is every time I finish a film, it's always my last, if you know what I mean. Every time I've finished something, as a director anyway, I've always thought this is definitely gonna be the last time, because so many people. Oh, it's great. I want to help out. I can do everything, but in the end, about 80% of them ends up wasting your time. I mean, that's not very motivating to hear. I know that, but which I guess explains why a lot of indie people seem to be working with the same people all the time, because they know they can rely on these people. But I've had so many time wasters, you wouldn't believe it. It's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing how many people who suddenly have a grandfather dying the day before they have to, you know, to
Yeah.
to come around and do the work on the film.
Oh wow.
If you know what I mean.
Basically,
I'm not meaning to be disrespectful. Of course, I realize that people die, and if that happens, it's that's what you have to kind of focus on. But it's just
yeah.
amazing how many. At some point, I thought my productions was almost cursed, actually, because it's like seems like everybody's grandfather is dying at the moment, and I am being sarcastic, of course, right now.
Okay, so
But
it's not
it's
like everybody says that, right?
no, no, no. There are definitely a lot of people you can count on as well. A lot of people, but mainly those people who just keep wasting your time, and then you know, never really live up to the promises, is basically the reason why every time I do a film, it's always the last. That's what I keep saying. But in the end, I usually find the motivation to do new stuff again. But sometimes it does take quite a while. I mean, after uh, it hasn't been so bad the past couple of productions, to be honest. But some of the first stuff I started out doing, like I did a feature film called Craig about 10 years ago. I started it, and in the end, I mean, it was up to me and maybe three other people that really, really helped me a lot. But just about anybody on that production just kind of, as soon as they realized that this probably wouldn't be the ticket to Hollywood, it was just like, well, you know, never mind. I mean, there is a lot of stress involved in that. I'm not gonna lie about that. But in the end, I guess it's all about how much you actually want to tell your story, how much you want to get this film made, how desperate you are, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ever since we started with Unitedfilm, then we are trying to tell people, like, you can't really do this for the money or for the fame.
Yeah,
You know, you just have to do it because you love doing it.
exactly. And I mean, nothing really beats the feeling when you have a finished production. I mean, there is definitely upsides to this as well. When you have a finished production and you just that is an incredible feeling. I mean, that is great, but you do have to. I mean, you do have to work a lot for it. I mean, it is hard work. And even if you have a like an institute supported film, it's a lot of hard work as well. I guess the worries just lie other places. I mean, budget wise. But the thing is, if you can't pay people, or if you can only pay people a very tiny amount, it just it is difficult. It is difficult, and people have a tendency to just say yes, yes, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that, and when it comes down to it, they're gonna bail on you 1 or 2 days before. Again, it's not everybody who does that, but I guess as humans beings, we just have a tendency to remember the bad experiences.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But there are a lot of great, awesome, really awesome experiences as well, and I've made a lot of friendships making films as well. I wouldn't want to do without. So again, there are definite upsides to it as well. As soon as the stress kind of goes down, it's well, it's okay. But you do, I mean, you do of course remember the people who can I use bad language here?
Oh yeah, this is a
Oh, great,
totally informal podcast, so just say what you want. This is the
cool.
internet, okay? Free zone. Go for it.
The people who fucked you over, you are gonna remember them. And I mean, it's live and forget and all that, but and forgive. But in the end, I mean, if people screw you over one time, it's their fault. If you allow them to do it again, in my opinion, sadly, it's gonna be your fault the next time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't really like start hating her or something. I mean, even if you
Oh,
forgive them, then
well,
you
some
just
of them.
like
No, no, I'm not.
you don't really trust them anymore. That's the thing that you wanted to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
No, I mean they're probably great people. It's just it still puzzles me to this day why people agree to do something if they don't really want to do it anyway. Because it's not just. I mean, you're wasting people's time, and you're really putting the producers in a very very tight spot, in a very very silly position, stressful, really stressful, just because, well, you're maybe being a bit egomaniacal. I don't know.
no, I know exactly what you mean
It's not
because
really fair, I guess. I mean, there is a lot of people who say I'm not gonna do anything without getting paid, and that's fair enough. That's fine. I mean, we all have to have a rent to pay and stuff like that. I mean, but then just say no from the beginning.
yeah. So basically, the reason why you guys stick together is because you trust each other.
Yeah, that, and we work well together, and we are all equally insane, I guess.
You have to be a little bit because you have to have a little bit of faith that it will work out.
Oh, very.
You know, because there is not so much money, then that can also be a good thing because you can basically do what you want.
Yeah, within reason. Yeah, yeah.
Of course. No, I mean that I mean, the story or anything around the film is not really dictated by we have to make a profit, if you know what I mean.
Oh, no, no, no.
So
And
that can
that's
be a good
that's the
thing.
thing that I think a lot of people misunderstand. I know a couple of people that I have worked with walked around saying, "Well, he doesn't pay us, and he's just earning so much money on his films." That is really ridiculous. I mean, it's. I mean, I do the acting, and I've done a lot of stuff where I got paid very well, and that is how I make my living, or at least try to make my living. When I produce films myself, it's because it's productions that I really feel like doing and I want to do. It's like an urge to tell a certain story, and nobody's getting paid, so it's not like somebody's getting paid somewhere and other people has to work for free. So I strictly believe that if you pay one person, you have to pay everybody.
Yes, but since you live in Denmark,
Yeah.
from my own experience, at least, Denmark isn't really so cheap. So how is it money-wise for you with the expenses for the films? Do you feel like you can afford what you need?
Um, well, not always, no. But I mean, yeah, I guess Denmark is a pretty expensive country when you compare it to a lot of others. But then again, the wages here are also. I mean, it sort of ties in together. It's the wages are higher as well.
Okay. So you
So,
don't really have like some notion to go over to Sweden and film there.
oh, Sweden and Norway is even more expensive.
Sweden is?
Norway at least is very much
Oh
in.
yeah.
No, Sweden is probably about the same. I don't know.
Okay. So basically, if you manage to finish some film, then you basically throw some party because it was so much struggle, right? That you need to reward yourself, basically.
Uh, oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, the directing. I mean, the the whole motivation to direct comes out of my acting thing as well, because that is what I am. I mean, I'm a trained actor, and I went to acting school and did the whole Stanislavski method acting thing and all that. Um, but the thing is that it's not always easy to get the parts you really dream of playing. So I had like you know, the whole motivation to start directing was to get to play the parts that I wanted to play. Um, and if I could find nobody else to direct it, I would direct it myself. At least that way I would get it done exactly the way I wanted it. But I mean, it is a lot of work, and I mean, it does take a lot of concentration to both direct and act at the same time. And I seem to find myself doing a whole lot better acting wise when I'm doing other people's productions, if you know what I mean. But yeah, the whole I don't know if I'd reward myself. It also come with the acting part. It also comes out of that whole, if I have to do a feature film, and I have to obviously I have to have a lead character that, well, I know I can play him because I kind of invented him myself. But I also have to find an actor that I know I can depend on, who will actually be there for the whole shot, and I'm gonna be there. So yeah, I don't know. Does it sound crazy? I don't know.
Well, I would be interested in knowing actually how do you handle it at the same time, acting and directing. I mean, that's kind of hard because you can't really see yourself.
Yeah. Um.
So do you have somebody that helps you on the
Oh
plays
yeah,
or?
yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of great people who's become really great personal friends as well. Help me out because obviously I can't do it by myself. But yeah, I usually have somebody standing by to give me a couple of pointers here and there. And plus, I usually watch in between. I usually watch the dailies. It's not really called dailies when it's digital, I know, um, but it's, I mean, it is kind of hard to because you kind of have to look at yourself both from the acting point of view and the directing point of view, and it doesn't always match up. I have to be honest.
Yes, I understand. So you mentioned that you were on school,
Yeah.
because you basically start, you wanted to originally be an actor. So
Yes.
how do you actually approach diversity in acting? Do you want to be really like an all-around actor, or do you think that you fit only certain type?
I would really love to do, and I think I can play just about anything. Um, but there is this whole typecasting thing. It's not. I'm not going to complain about it because it's giving me a lot of great roles as well. But it does kind of, everybody fits into a certain kind of type, and I've been cast very often as the police officer or the military guy. or the troublemaker, and usually not very sympathetic people, you know. I don't know, because I think I'm such a nice guy myself, but doesn't always work that way. Uh,
So it was quite a challenge for yourself. Like, I'm a nice guy, so let's see how bad I can be.
well, it's fun, it is kind of fun when all bets are off and you can pretty much behave as badly as you want. It's kind of therapeutic in a way, I guess. And you can always, you're gonna be good friends with people afterwards as well. So it is fun, but I mean, I would, I mean, one of the very first films I was involved in, in not just the acting capacity, it was an action comedy called Brutal Incasso back in, I think we shot it in 2004, which was an awesome experience. It was so much fun because well, it was pretty brutal comedy, and it was quite inspired by I don't know if you know that Danish film called In China They Eat Dogs.
I haven't seen it, but I heard about it.
Okay, well, that and a mix of Pulp Fiction as well, I guess. I mean, but I mean, it was made on a very very strict budget, and I think how much did we put in for it? I don't know. It's if you convert it to dollars, it would probably be about a $5,000 or $6,000 or something like that. It was very tight for a feature film, and it was the shooting was about how much 5 weeks, I think. But it was fun, and we had so much fun doing it, and I really would love to get back into doing more comedic stuff. I mean, I was always told back in acting school that I had a very awesome comedic timing, but I haven't really been able to use it much since that film for some reason. I always try to get a little something in whenever I play a role, but it doesn't always fit in. So I mean, I've done so much horror stuff, and I love doing it. I grew up with horror as a kid, and I mean, it's great fun, but I think somehow I have placed myself in a bit of a box when it comes to that. I'm not saying that I regret it. It's just I would really love to do a lot of other stuff as well.
Okay, and since we are basically doing this podcast for the independent filmmakers, that means people who normally don't really go to any film school or acting school. So, can you tell us more about which aspects of the school do you think make it worth studying? Or can an actor actually learn without the school directly just by watching movies, or do the actors actually like teach each other? How does it work?
Well, first of all, there are a lot of trained actors, that who does independent films. But I get, I don't know. I always find I remember reading an article by Quentin Tarantino a bunch of years back where he slammed the film schools, saying they were a complete waste of time. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you have to acquire a lot of skill, and some of it, I guess, that's what people call talent, is something you're born with. But the schools are never a waste of time. You can always learn a lot of techniques and get better and get better, better and get better at it. And I mean, it's always kind of it's always kind of in development. I mean, I don't really believe when people say, "Well, I finished acting school." Well, maybe you finished the school, but you should still keep open to keep learning. Get better at what you do, even when you're out of school. I don't know. I don't. Am I talking in circles, or does it make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I
Oh,
mean,
good.
just
So, I mean, I'm still learning once in a while. Usually, I'm still trying to learn a lot of stuff, and yeah, you should keep open to that. I mean, otherwise you're gonna miss the experience of acting, I guess. And the same goes with filmmaking. Always be open to new ideas and new concepts, and yeah.
no, definitely.
Otherwise, how are we gonna develop our skills?
Yes, the problem is that sometimes people don't really have the option to go to the school because of their families or jobs. So we are looking for a way how to make them to be able to make films in their free time without actually having the school.
Definitely. Oh, okay, yeah. No, I didn't mean that. It was. I mean, if you can't go to school, forget about it. Not at all. No, no, no. You should. If that's what you really want to do, acting or filmmaking or whatever it is in life. I mean, you should go and do it. Be the best you can. Try the best you can, and learn. I'm not saying there's no future if you don't go to acting or filmmaking school at all. But it's good if you have the ability and the chance to do it and all that. Definitely go for it.
Okay, so my next question is, since you basically proved that you are reliable, that you are a proven actor, I guess we can agree on that. And what is it like for you to take part in so many movies? I mean, you have to like travel around so much and talk to people. Do you have time for yourself, or how do you tackle this?
Oh yeah, that's my calendar is pretty full at times. Um,
Which is why we appreciate having you here.
oh wow, no, no, um, I don't know. So somehow it does seem to work out. I mean, it's there is a lot of different size in the parts I've played. I've played a lot of very small parts and a lot of quite big parts and stuff. And obviously, it's when you play a smaller part. Sorry, it doesn't require you that much on set. Uh, but yeah, sometimes it is quite of a puzzle to get everything working out. And yeah, I really should get myself an agent. I've tried, but so far no real luck. Well, I had an agent in the UK, but I would really love to get one here in Denmark. It's quite nice to have somebody you can actually meet up with regularly, you know.
Oh, yeah,
Hopefully.
definitely. That's quite interesting thing about Denmark because it's not very big country, right? So
Yeah.
I think that the film production takes place in well, of course in Copenhagen, but then you also have Aarhus.
Aarhus, yeah, yeah, Aarhus is definitely expanding
And
these years a
is there
lot.
anything also in Odense?
There is the acting school in Odense, and they have a film festival as well, and they have well, they have what it's called the film. They have their own film workshop as well, and oh, they actually have their own little film education thing as well. So, but I guess most people does whenever they want to kind of get more serious about it. I don't know. But they probably do move to Copenhagen, most of them, or Aarhus. But I guess it's still Copenhagen where most of the stuff happens, or at least it happens out of Copenhagen as well. I mean, there is a lot of films being produced in not in Odense but in Furen in general. But I guess they all they're all developed in Copenhagen, most of them anyway, or Aarhus. So it does pay off to move to Copenhagen uh, if you want to, network is very important as well, and it is pretty hard to break into the business, especially if you live somewhere where producers might think, oh, that's gonna be a hassle to hire this guy because all of the travel and all that stuff. So it's a lot easier to hire people who are actually in the same city as yourself, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, I mean from their point of view, it definitely does.
Yeah, it's easy and it's more inexpensive. I mean,
But on the other hand, Denmark isn't so big.
yeah, no, that is true. But I mean, you've been to Denmark. Well, I'm gonna interview you now. What are your impressions? How long did you stay here? We never got to meet, sadly.
Well, I was there maybe for like 2 weeks,
Mm.
and in that time I didn't really get to meet too many people because barely anybody had time.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was more exploring. But I also met, I forgot his name, the man that's leading the film workshop.
Oh yeah, Prami.
Yes, I met with
Yes,
him.
you met him. Okay.
Yeah, because I was really amazed by this thing that in Copenhagen you have like one building, and in that building is a cinema, and you also have these organizations that support film. It's nicely centralized, everything, and it's just
Very much.
cool.
That's the Danish Film Institute in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
so
workshop as well.
I was really amazed, as sort of like a bottom line to my experience. But yeah, I just wish that I could have stayed longer, but unfortunately I'm always running on limited budget, so
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
always possible for me.
Well, we all are, I guess.
Yeah.
But you didn't go to Aarhus or anything like that.
Unfortunately, I didn't. I had a problem because my car was damaged, so I had to drive back, and I couldn't really explore anymore.
Oh, too bad. Well, you're coming back, aren't you?
Yes, yes, I am. As soon as I can, then I'll be back and see what you guys are up to.
The weather sucks right now, so just so you know.
Yeah,
Um,
because you probably know that I used to live in Sweden,
I
and
didn't actually, but okay, yeah.
no, I used to live in Sweden for 4 years between 2008 and 2012, and I lived all the way up in the north, so I really, really got used to snow and ice, and cold weather.
Okay, so
So,
this is
so,
gonna be nothing for you.
so right now it's really killing me to be under the sun, so to speak.
Oh, luxury problems. Anyway, but did you have a chance to check out the Swedish independent scene?
Yes, I did. I did. So I made a couple of friends there, but
Yeah.
they are struggling. I mean, they are doing better than the Czech filmmakers, but yeah, um, it's like I feel that Denmark right now is, that I should focus on Denmark because it's like exactly how I would like Czech Republic to be in regards of film.
Yeah.
So of course I learned about many things in Sweden, but I also put those experience to work. But I'm exploring Denmark right now. So
Yeah.
no
Okay.
offense to Sweden, I will definitely want to explore it more, see how they evolved. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I was just curious, because to me it seems like Sweden and Denmark are quite similar when it comes to the whole independent thing. Uh, I
uh,
could be wrong, but I mean, I've done a couple of things in Sweden as well, but
well
know
from
know a couple of people who does independent stuff as well.
yeah from what
Since
I've
since you
learned,
lived there, maybe you had a sniff of it, but okay.
yeah, that's just my personal opinion that
Yeah.
Denmark is doing a little bit better than Sweden in this regard.
Okay. Well, we do have a lot of. I mean, considering how small of a country we are, there is a lot of stuff being done. It actually amazes me sometimes how many people you can find. I mean, how many productions are going on and on very well small scales budget wise, but sometimes it's incredible what people can achieve with virtually nothing. You know,
Oh yes,
financially.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Obviously it does help that digital equipment has become pretty accessible and inexpensive, but it still takes skill to handle it properly.
Yeah, speaking of handling it, how did you actually do it when you started? What equipment did you have?
When I did the first feature film, I invested in an HD camera. Well, it's HDV camera like Sony FX1, which was pretty new on the market at that time. Now it's just completely obsolete. Actually, looking at it right now, I'm still having on my shelf, but it's more like an antique now. But I did quite a few productions on that. I just decided that, well, I can borrow equipment, I can rent equipment, but in the end, it's probably going to be a whole lot easier just to buy it because this was. I mean, I got this for around, I think Danish crowns, 25,000 or something at the time, which is, how much is that in dollars? I guess it's.
Just a note, don't
Oh,
say it in dollars. Just say it in Danish, and
oh, okay.
because people here they know the value of Danish crown. It's 3.5 Czech crowns. So
Okay.
yeah, you just
Fair
multiply
enough.
everything by 3.5, and there you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, I didn't know that. But about 25,000 Danish crowns. But that was, I mean, that was 10 years ago. That's the thing. That's what I've been using for a lot of my stuff. That camera. Succubus, I think we shot in 2011. Uh,
Yeah, and you managed to do really well. I mean, I really liked the picture on that movie.
yeah, but that was shot on another camera. That was well, that was the point. That was the first thing I shot on something else, but I can't even remember what we used now. But it was one of those little mirror reflex, yeah,
DSLR?
yeah, exactly, yeah, cameras, and yeah, that was, and I had somebody else shoot it for me. And that was kind of a luxury.
Yeah, it was Alan Velm.
Yes,
Okay.
God rest his soul. Yes,
I'm actually just looking at it at Echo
yeah.
Films shortlist.
Oh, that was a side story. Alan unfortunately died about 2 weeks after we completed the shooting
Oh my
Succubus.
god.
Yeah, that was.
I hope it wasn't related to your film though.
Dude, that's not funny.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was really bad
No,
joke.
it's okay. No, no, it's no, that was something else. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of weird. We were just out celebrating about 2 weeks after we finished the shooting, and he actually just, I don't know, passed away 2 days later. And yeah, I don't know whether I should cry or laugh about it. It's just no, that's
Yeah,
obviously not laugh about it. It's tragic,
no,
but I mean, it's just
yeah. Well, I was just trying to say, just to honor the guy that,
yes,
that
and
he
that's
did a
what we
good.
did at the end of the film. Actually, we dedicated it to him.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that he did a really good job. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, especially considering that it was actually his first film. He was a photographer, still photographer, but that this was actually his first film that he did. Uh, yeah, he did a very good job.
and how did you actually? How did he get involved in this project?
Oh, good. Yeah,
In short, you don't really have to,
yeah.
explain everything.
No, I just have to remember. It's. I think I produced the film with the author of the film, uh, Lars Eholm, who also became an executive producer on it. And I think he and Alan knew each other. I don't remember exactly. It's 5 years ago, so it's a lot have happened since.
You mean Lars Egholm Fishman,
Fishman, yeah,
who wrote
yes,
the manuscript?
yes, the script writer, yeah,
Okay, since you mentioned Succubus, that was basically the first film that I saw
yeah.
that you made. So I just wanted to get a little bit more information on that because you already admitted that it was sort of like a milestone in what you did because you also used a new camera and masks and all that. Can you tell us a little bit more
That's,
about it?
um, yeah. I don't know if it was a milestone, but it was definitely the day that the main actress uh, was put in that makeup. It actually took about 4 hours and cost almost, I think, 90% of the film's budget. That was incredible, and she was scary as hell, man.
Yeah, I believe you.
I mean, there is this scene in the film where she seduces me, and I end up. She ends up sitting on me in a basement, and it's a very hectic and very well, it's a sex scene. Let's just put it what it is. Um, but that was actually kind of terrifying.
So you were like, "Oh, I have this really beautiful girl sitting on me, but she's also a succubus, so I can't really
Yeah,
enjoy it."
because she is very beautiful, and she transforms during the whole lovemaking thing, and it's just obviously that's what you see in the film. But it was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it exactly.
But how did you actually get her to be naked? I mean, was it hard to convince her?
No, well, well, when we started producing the film, we made a casting call, and we called in about, I think, 10 actresses who were all interested in playing the part. And
And did you actually tell them at that point they would be
They already
required?
knew before they even agreed to come in and do the casting, that there was gonna be a little bit of topless acting in it,
Okay.
and and they were fine with it. They liked the idea and they liked the whole, because it's kind of in many ways it's kind of a strong female character, both weak and strong. But and I guess that's all actresses' dreams, to play strong characters, which there isn't too many of as it is. So they all liked the idea, and out of the, I think we 8 or 10 girls we had in for a casting. Actually, 3 of them ended up in the film. There was, of course, the girl who ended up playing the lead, but 2 of the others actually played parts in it as well, because we really liked them. But it's, in the end, sometimes when you make the final casting choices, it's not always just about the, you know, they were all good. That's what I meant to convey with this. But who suits the part best, with the looks and stuff like that. But we liked, especially 2 of the others, so much that we offered them other parts in the film, and they luckily agreed. So yeah, so it's as long as you have a storyline that people like, and it's there are a lot of people who are willing to go that extra mile. Just plus, I mean, the nudity in itself is not just to say, hey, here's boobs. It's just there is a point to it. So I mean, as long as it's a part of the story, we couldn't really tell the story without it. It wouldn't really be the same, because the succubus is like well, you know the story. It's a seductive demon who swallows the souls of men, something like that. I can't quite remember, but yeah, it has to be seductive.
Okay, so once you chose your main actress, then how did you go about creating this image of the succubus herself? Did you make any sketches, or did you just leave it up to some artist?
Actually, we gave a lot of free creative hands to the guy who made the makeup, a guy called Anders Lerche, who has worked on a lot of stuff. I think he worked on a Harry Potter film as well, and he did it. I don't remember exactly how much it cost, but it did become quite expensive. But it had to. I mean, it had to look real and look good, because this was the whole climax of the scene. So he came up with a lot of conceptual drawings and suggestions for how we could go about it, and we just loved his stuff. I wish I had a copy of those drawings, because it was quite interesting. But that was very much Anas's uh, work. He's a very skillful
So,
artist.
so how many iterations were there? I mean, did he nail it right from the beginning, or did you have to make any changes?
Um, I think he pretty much nailed it to begin with, more or less. I mean, we might have had a couple of suggestions. There was a couple of, I mean, there was a couple of talks whether or not she should have wings or not, because it actually that turned out to be quite a big thing in the budget as well. But luckily, in the end, we decided that yes, give her those damn wings, and we just had to pay what it cost. But I mean, I'm glad we did it, because I mean, it looks great. I think it looks great.
Oh, I definitely agree. So,
The
I
fun thing about Succubus is that it was the whole. First of all, the idea when we made it was, we have this short film competition, uh, not every year, but almost every year, during the Copenhagen Pigs Festival, called Movie Battle, where a handful of short films within a certain category is picked, and then they battle for which film is the best. It's a whole arrangement. It's quite fun. And the fun thing about it was, Succubus was originally made for the competition in 2012, where the theme was supernatural. And there was actually even two films that year called Succubus, but our film wasn't even picked for the competition. It did end up on the double DVD release, but it was never actually in the competition. But which I think is a shame. I know a couple of the people who made the judgment call for the competition actually really wanted it in, but for some reason it just didn't happen. And so I took my revenge when we did Harvest back that was last year for the competition. It actually won for best special effects. But yeah, that was a bit of a letdown that it never actually got into the competition. And for some reason, since the competition, it seems to have been one of the films that's done the very best of all the submitted films. But I don't know. It's all about taste, I guess.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about the reception of this character? I mean, how did people react to this, this girl in a mask, this character basically that she portrayed?
Yeah, a lot of people were quite stunned. How did you, how did you do that? I don't remember exactly how he did it technically, but well, you say in a mask. It's not even a mask. It's actually uh, not spray painted on. I don't remember the exact the exact terms for it, but paintbrushed. A lot of
Oh,
it is
okay.
actually brushed on, and it took like I said, it took 4 hours to put it on, 5 maybe even. It took forever, but it was worth it. I mean, there's been a lot of positive reactions to that, which is why I'm happy that we did it. I mean, we were even scared of her when she was walking around the set, even though we know no, it's just Cat. Come on, but it was quite convincing.
I think so, but especially women, how did they receive this character? Did anybody say like, "Oh, I wish I could be like her," or fantasize somehow?
Oh, I hope not. Oh, I have to be honest. I don't remember exactly if I heard any women uh, come up with critique about it. I don't remember negative critique. So if there has been any women, it's been positive.
But of course, you are not really going to leave this character behind, right? I mean, are we going to see her again sometimes? Because she appeared in some other film, right? So, is
Um,
there a chance?
well, this the whole succubus thing was a part of Sinister Visions, if that's what you mean.
Yes.
But I don't have any plans for it. I would love to, but I think I would need a fairly big budget, and it definitely shouldn't come out of my own pockets this time around. I mean, I would definitely love to explore the possibilities, but it's not at all a part of my plans as it is right now. You got me thinking about it now, but I
Yeah.
haven't really thought about it since we finished the film.
I mean, you will make a sequel, Succubus versus Incubus, and the woman
Yeah,
and the man, and they don't know that each other, that they are demons.
yeah, we could do probably like a Batman versus Superman, just like a succubus versus incubus. Or so, I don't
Yes,
know.
but really awesome, you know.
Yeah, that would be great. But I think maybe, yeah, yeah, no. Well, I don't know. Let's see what the future brings. I'm open. I'm open. Definitely open. If somebody wants to throw some money into it, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the DFI, the Danish Film Institute.
yeah.
So, how do you actually look at it? I mean, have you ever tried applying for money, or are you thinking about it?
No, actually, no. I haven't. I've never, ever tried to look for money myself at all. Uh, there was a lot of talk a bunch of years back, a lot of filmmakers complaining about DFI that oh they only support the same people all the time and it's just the friends who get the money and stuff like that. I don't really know if that's true. I mean a lot of people complained that at a certain point in time, all Danish films almost were identical. It was almost the same film because the institute wanted to streamline and streamline it so it's it has to sell better and stuff like that. But I don't know. In my experience, that probably put me off ever trying to get money from them. Uh, in recent years, they have, at least it seems, they have opened a lot for support in other genres than just relationship drama and kids films and stuff like that. It's I mean, we have had a couple of I mean, even horror films come out recently that was supported by the institute. Uh, there is this Danish springs to mind a zombie film actually called in Danish called Sorgenfri. What We Become, I think it's called internationally, which I think was actually a pretty good film. And that was supported. That actually got money from the institute, which is in turn is supported by the government. So there's other things as well, but I just can't remember them right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I definitely got this impression when I was talking to Parmi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
From Film Workshop that really they are trying to shift their focus. So,
Yeah.
like you said, we will see what the future brings. Hopefully,
It
something good.
seems like definitely it's going in a really good direction, getting a lot more, a bigger selection in genres, and it seems like they're really opening up in the last couple of years. But yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, and you mentioned Prami in the workshop as well. The workshop has always been very, very, very supportive of how do you say, well, genre films, but not just that, just films that are a little. Uh, I don't want to say strange because it sounds negative. It's not meant that way at all. But somewhat um, more creative. Well, I really have to watch what I'm saying right now because it could be misunderstood. um,
You mean like the films that you normally don't see in the cinemas, right?
yes,
Something
films that
non-traditional.
probably maybe is for a more limited audience, but still important films. Of course, the workshop is owned by DFI as well, but there's a big difference because it's quite limited how much money they can throw into it, and they're gonna support with equipment and stuff like that. But the big films usually seek support elsewhere in the DFI, and that the amount of money they can get there is well, a lot bigger. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, that was my impression also.
Yeah. That's where you have to. I mean, that's where they have to be streamlined, and you have to make sure there is a pretty big audience, and because well, there's a lot of money at stake as well, and let's face it, it's the movie industry is about making money as well. In the end, I guess we all would love to do that.
Okay, so we are pretty much closing to the finish with my questions.
Okay.
So
Well, I hope I could give you a little insight, although well, it's hard to give a precise insight. I mean, like I said, I've never tried to get money myself from the institute, but I know a lot of people who have, and I know a lot of people who have succeeded, but also a lot of people who never really got to the finishing point.
yes, I understand, but I've been studying the history of Danish film a little bit, so I know that you guys also had to fight for it really hard to get what you have.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's. I mean, there is no matter how you have a film you want to make, there is really no easy way of doing it. I mean, always I don't want to say difficult, but well, challenging, but in each their own way. And of course, if you have a lot of money, it's some things are gonna be easier, obviously, but then you have so many other things to answer for budget wise, for an example. I mean, and you might as a director, being a creative director, you might not you might actually ending up making a film that's not really how you want it to be done. I guess if you pay the whole budget yourself, you can do it exactly the way you want it, and not give shit, sorry, about what anybody else thinks. So there are positive and negative booms about all of it, no matter if you have money or not.
Okay, so another thing that really surprised me in Denmark was, the aforementioned Echo film, the magazine,
Yeah,
because it really serves as some sort of like a bridge between the independent film and the mainstream, if you know what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
Because it basically covers both, and it also has the shortlist on its website, and the shortlist is basically, let's say it like a charts, or
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but
You
it
can
it
call it that. I think the shortlist has been a fantastic initiative. I mean, I think it's really motivated a lot of people to, well, pardon my French, but get their finger out and actually get to do their film, because now there is actually a way you can get it out to an audience where it's been quite limited before, unless you had unless you made a feature film for the cinemas or something like that, or there's been festivals, of course, you can send it to, but this is a very big, you can get your film out to a really big audience this way, because Echo is, well, Echo, it's been around for years, as long as I can remember even, and it has a very good reputation. So I think the whole film industry pretty much is interested in what Echo says and does, and they're very supportive of both the cinematic stuff, but also the independent stuff.
yes. So when somebody makes their own film independently, then they can also upload it to Echo, so they will host it. I mean, that's
Yeah,
where I
yes,
found your succubus.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if what their evaluation points are. I think they're probably going to judge to see if it's fitting and all that. But I mean, they still want to ensure a certain level of quality, of course. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of different stuff. I mean, it goes in all directions on Echo, and I think it's always interesting. And I mean, they have, how much is it? I think it's 3 new films every Monday around noon that comes up. So I mean, they keep it fresh. There is always something to do, and I have to be honest, because it really amazes me. I mean, as far as I know now, Echo has been running the shortlists for, oh, 3 years probably, and they somehow they managed to find 3 new short films every week, and it's always fairly new films. So it's, yeah, there is. I mean, I think it has actually motivated a lot of Danish people to just do it. You wanna make a film? Well, just do it. Yeah, it's gonna cost you a little bit of money, but you can do it if you really want to do it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that shortlist, or this hosting overall, is intended for Danish film. So,
Yes,
you know, it's
yes.
good that it doesn't get too cluttered. Really, it's about films made in Denmark, mostly by Danish
There is
directors.
that limit. There has to be some sort of Danish attachment to it, at least. I don't know
Yes.
exactly what the strict rules are, but I mean, Succubus, for an example, was that's an English language, even though it's completely produced in Denmark. But they still took it, and yeah, I think I don't know exactly what the rules are, but yeah, you have to have some sort of Danish attachment. It has to be produced in Denmark or by a Danish director or Danish producer. I don't know exactly what, but yeah, but it does kind of prove that there is definitely a lot of stuff going on in the well, some people might call it the underground. I'm not too big of a fan of that expression, but well, let's call it that.
Well,
The independent scene.
there are actually specific rules that Echo has on its websites, which
Yeah.
says that the film must be shorter than 45 minutes. It must be Danish, meaning that it will be a Danish director or the producer.
Okay. Thank you. I couldn't exactly remember how it was. Yeah.
Okay, I just had to. It was a little bit hard for me to translate it straight from the website, but I hope I got it right.
Yeah, well, it sounds right. It
Okay,
sounds right.
awesome. That means that I can still understand written Danish.
Not bad at all.
Thank you. So, what actually does this shortlist mean to the Danish filmmakers? I mean, you said that everybody's talking about it, but is it something that people see as some sort of achievement?
I think so. There is a certain sort of good feeling about. I mean, I remember when I have about 6 or 7 films right now as an actor on the shortlist that you can just freely go in and see. They're not. There's no English subtitles on them, unfortunately. But but I mean, the first time I had a film up there, I remember that that's great because I really enjoyed doing this film. It was a short film called Tavshed, which means silence, I guess. That was the first film I had up there as an actor, and that was great. Finally, because it's I've lived now in Copenhagen and worked as an actor here for about 15 years, and I've done a lot of short films that people, for one reason or another, never bothered to finish, which is extremely demotivating as well. Whatever the problem was, they weren't happy about or maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't know whatever the problem seems to have been, but I can mention at least 10 films that was never finished. But I think not saying it doesn't happen at all, but I think the shortlist has managed to motivate a lot of people to actually finish what they start, which is apparently a big accomplishment to get people to do. I mean, I've never I've never done that. Started something I didn't finish, but yeah, I don't really get why people want to spend a lot of time going out writing a script, casting, filming, spending money on all that stuff, and never even bother to finish the production. But I guess that's a question that's always going to elude me. I mean, it just seems like a complete waste of time if you don't bother to finish the project.
Yeah, I mean, they basically feel so much enthusiasm at the start, and they don't know what it really takes to
Yeah,
finish it, I suppose.
I don't know if it's just a question of, well, we didn't really come back with the shoots that we really wanted, but I guess you'd never really come back with exactly how you wanted, I guess. But sometimes it's a gift, actually. Sometimes you get things you hadn't even thought of. But in the end, I think, okay, I'm just gonna go all out and say this. I'm not gonna name any names because the people uh, this is about pretty much know who they are, so there's no point in mentioning. But I think I think it is very disrespectful, to be honest, to waste people's time like that. It's not okay. I mean, people go in, and this is the productions that I did. Well, most of them are a long way back because I've been better at weeding them out. But especially the first 5 years, I did a lot of short films, unpaid, stuff like that, because I liked the idea, but I never saw the finished production. And even if you send an email to the director, they would ignore you or just say, "Well, we're working on it." And some of them apparently are still working on it 12 years later. That was nice to get out of my system. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what we do here.
I mean, if you're gonna take people's time and not pay them for their work, because it is, no matter if it's fun or not, it is still work. I mean, at least finish the production. You know, that's the least you can do. Not just for the actors, but for all the people working on the production side as well. But yeah, that's just me complaining.
No, no, I know exactly. I mean, it's good that you said this because I when I lived in Sweden, I actually met a director called uh, well, I'm not gonna mention his name. It doesn't really matter. But he
Okay.
told me, uh, I asked him a question. Okay, like how do you manage to work with this producer, who also happened to be, his friend, but they were really good together. This guy
Yeah,
directed, the other one produced, and I was like, how do you do it that you're so successful together? And he was like, it's all about the communication. You
true.
know, you really have to like always be honest and say what's on your mind because you're working on something together, right?
Yes.
So even if you screw up or something, then you have to say that, and the other guy has to understand.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Drop the ego. Just admit you screwed up. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no way to repair it.
Yeah, and especially if you are a director or the producer of that film, especially in the independent
Mm.
area, then you have that responsibility
Yeah.
because there are so many people involved. So yeah.
True. Yeah. 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 Well, it's true. It is completely about the communication, not just between the director and the producer, but in the whole team. No matter if it's actors or it's the sound guy, or it's the photographer, whatever it is, it's all about communication and actually wanting to make the same thing. Having the urge to tell the same story, and yeah, it's uh, it's a collective process. I mean, it's usually when a film comes out, it's usually the director and the main actor who's credited for doing the whole work. But it's not really. There is a lot of people who are never really appreciated in the way they deserve it.
Exactly. And most of the projects that I have seen that failed, it happened mostly because of the communication problems.
Yeah. I mean,
So
to my experience, I've just been ignored by a couple of people when I asked them 3 years later. So what's going on? you know, and I mean, now on Facebook, you can even see when people read your messages, but you know, people forget very easily.
yeah, or maybe
But
they
yeah,
want to forget.
I'm complaining. I would really hate to sound like you know it's all a bummer because it's not. It's awesome. It's awesome once you get it rolling, and it's awesome when you have a finished production, and it's awesome when it works out. It's fantastic. It's all worth it when it works out. But there is a lot of headache in the process.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Um, because okay, I studied, I graduated from film school, okay, but
Yeah.
no one really told me like this is how you should behave when you're on the set, or this is how you should like talk to the other guys from the crew and so on. I had to learn it really hard way,
Okay.
if you know
Yeah.
where I'm going with this. So what I'm trying to say is that no one will really tell you like how to act, towards people. That's a huge problem.
Yeah. I fucked up a couple of times in that area as well. I have to admit. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess all in the end, it's just for everybody's sake. It's just a question of listening to people and being respectful towards people. And I mean, this is a bunch of years ago. I screwed up royally when I was acting in a film. I mean, I just lost all patience. I mean, I had fairly good reasons, but that is what it is. I mean, it's uh, yeah. I learned. The point is, I learned a lot from it, and there isn't a whole lot of things I would like to regret or take back or redo, but that one episode definitely I would love to redo again because I lost a couple of really good friends in the process, and that's well that I mean this is 11 years ago. It still pains me to this day, but it's I mean sometimes the point of it all was that's yeah, you have to be respectful towards people, and but it's also okay if you expect well if you I mean you want to be treated decently as well, and I think the problem in the end on this very production, if they're listening right now, they know it's who is it's it's about those guys. But I guess in the end, we just took each other for granted, you know, because we knew each other, and we a lot of us knew each other from acting school even, and well, a lot of shit happened, and it shouldn't have. But it's
Yeah.
too late to redo it now. I think I don't know.
Yeah. So
Treat people with respect. Don't be a prima donna. Listen to the director, and if you're a director, make sure to listen to your actors as well.
yeah, that's that's pretty
I
good.
guess I guess these past 75 minutes could be summed up in that.
Yeah. So you hear it, guys? Be nice to each other and
Yes. Yes.
treat other people seriously so that they can treat you seriously as well.
Yeah, because in the end, you're all there for the same thing. You're all there to make the same production. And I get it. Sometimes people have a bad day and all that stuff, but never do something you can't apologize for afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably go more into detail with it, but the thing is that,
But
everyone
I'd
is
rather
different.
not, to be honest. I mean, it is. I don't know if you could kind of tell, but it became pretty personal suddenly. I didn't expect that. It just happened. But and it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
but
No, what I was just trying to say is that sometimes you have to judge each situation, separately, you know.
yes,
So it's really hard to like kind of like sum up how exactly you should act, when you're part of the crew.
yeah.
So it's
I
very tough.
mean, no matter if it's a small, no budget or a small budget or a big ass budget. I mean, never forget to be professional. And even if it's your friends you're working with, and that's great because that can be a lot of fun as well. But just still remember that, be respectful towards each other. Be professional.
Yes, even when you're working on independent productions,
Yeah.
because there is in the end there really isn't such a big difference.
No. No, but I mean it's life, isn't it? I mean
Yeah, yeah, you can apply it to basically anything. How to
yeah.
treat people.
Yeah, it's not really that tricky. I mean, and some people just work better together than others, and that's fine. I mean, it's all about well, it's all about chemistry in the end. Like a lot of times, anyway. But then again, I mean, there is a lot of people who want to kill each other and keep working together. I mean, just look at that whole Werner Herzog, Klaus Kinski thing. That's interesting. I mean, Kinski is dead now, obviously, but I mean, they made like 6 films together back in the 70s and 80s, and every time they just wanted to rip each other's heads off, and they were screaming at each other and on set, and still you know, they kept working together, which is incredible. Very interesting documentary. I would recommend if you haven't seen it already. It's actually one that Werner Herzog made about that whole relationship, uh, called "My Best Fiend," I think, something like that. It's been out for a bunch of years, but it's about him and Klaus Kinski's relationship, and it's basically a handbook on not how not to act on set. But it's quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, find it somewhere.
Okay. So uh, we already went through almost all of it that I
Yeah.
wanted to know. So we will probably close it with this last question about the future of the indie film in Denmark. Will you guys be able to somehow improve your films in terms of, like production designs and the values? Do you think that you will be able to make some blockbusters? Is it headed that way?
When you say blockbusters, exactly how do you? I mean, how do you perceive a blockbuster if it's Danish?
Okay, no, no, no. I mean, like, in comparison to films that you get to see in the cinema, which are, complicated,
Yeah.
have special effects and all that.
You mean on the independent scene?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Uh, I would hope so. I mean, I've seen a lot of things that are in the works right now. I can't really mention any titles, but I've seen a lot of things that are in the works that are incredibly impressive, considering how little money was put into it. Uh, I mean, okay, I can remember one. I can mention one title that I'm actually gonna do. Um, I did that was a horror film last year called it's called Finale in Danish. I don't know what the English title is gonna be. Maybe it's just gonna be Final or something like that. But that's actually made for, well, not really sure how big of a budget, but it's gonna look really great. I think it's
Is it the
gonna
one
be.
about two girls?
Yes, yes, two girls at the gas station. Yes.
Yeah, I
You,
saw the
you,
post
you
on
read
Facebook.
about it already. Okay. I think as far as I know, it's scheduled to premiere in the cinemas in Denmark around Halloween. But I don't know. That could change. I don't know. It's just what I know at this point. But that's actually made for a quite low budget. I don't know exactly how much, but yeah, that's gonna be really good. So yeah, you should see that one when if you get the chance. I think there is. There is a couple of distribution talks for foreign territories already. So I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly. I finished my work on it a long time ago, so it's just what the producer and director tells me once in a while.
Okay, so the bottom
But
line
but
is
the real no budget stuff. I mean, I I still think we have a long way to go if we want to see a no budget film in Denmark going to a cinematic distribution.
yeah.
It has happened, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. It will be awesome, but I don't know. There is still a lot of competition from the bigger films, and a lot of people, they tend to buy cinema tickets for what they know. I mean, either Hollywood blockbusters or again the big Danish films with famous names and stuff like that.
Yeah, I noticed, or actually, a few people told me in Denmark that they just consider the local films boring, so that's why they see foreign films, and it's the same case in Czech Republic.
Yeah, yeah. It's always more interesting to see a film from another environment than you're used to, I guess.
Yeah, and also uh, because in the cinema you also get, I mean, from the foreign productions you get the genre movies, so
Yeah,
films that are not really produced in Denmark.
it's getting there, but it's been a long way. It's been a long road. There are more and more stuff the last couple of years coming out as genre films in Denmark, but it's been a bit of a wasteland for many years. That is true for that.
Okay, but you can see the progress, so it
Oh
will
yeah,
be fine.
oh yeah. There is definitely a progress, and it's going in the right direction. It's just it would be nice if it happened a bit quicker. But that's how things goes, I guess.
Yeah,
The people when you seek the whole no the whole production money for DFI. I mean, they have a handful of people working there who actually reads the script that are coming in and decides whether or not people should have um, the money or not. And but those people are actually getting. It's almost like a presidency. They are actually getting shifted once every. I can't remember 3 or 4 years, maybe. I don't know. It's never just the same people who are sitting there for years and years and years and years, which is a good thing because it gives a lot of new inputs and stuff like that. And it's yeah, it's definitely going in the right direction.
yeah. I don't really know too much about the DFI yet, how it
Yeah,
works internally, but in Sweden, you probably noticed that these consultants they have special directives, so they have to support basically all types of filmmakers and all kinds of genres, so they can't really prioritize anyone.
Okay.
So
I
maybe
think
it's similar.
probably, yeah, because you say both Sweden and Norway have film institutes as well. I don't know much about the Norwegian, and I barely know anything about the Swedish, but I'm guessing that it all three of them and the Danish kind of working in more or less the same way. I hope, I guess, I don't know. It's just the impression I get.
Yeah. So it's that's good. That's good that you guys can do it. So that you can be rolling. You know.
Still trying, still struggling. Like I said, every time I finish a film, it's always my last.
Yeah.
But somehow I usually end up finding my way back. Without even noticing it, I'm in the middle of something new. So,
Yeah. Do you have any special wishes? Like what kind of film you want to make or act in?
um, well, I would, like I said earlier, I would really love to do a lot of more comedy or drama, something like that. I do love doing the horror thing, so don't get me wrong. It's just it would be nice to get the chance to expand it, because I know I can do it. I've done it before, but I just haven't done it much. Uh, so that would be really nice to, and there's a hint here. It would be really nice to stumble upon a producer or a director who is really willing to give me the chance of showing something other than what they've seen me in the past couple of years. I don't mind playing an asshole. I don't mind at all. But it would be nice if it was, you know, a funny asshole.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But what about the action film? I wanted to ask you about these two guys called Sean Ranas,
Mm,
I think,
yep.
and the other guy,
Jake
Shake.
Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen West Brick Murders,
Yeah.
and the other one was called The Last Warrior.
Yeah. I did a couple of films with Shaky, not The Last Warrior, but a couple of others. And he's a very good friend of mine. Sadly, we don't see each other as often as we probably should, I think. But no, he's a very good friend of mine, and I worked with him a couple of times, and it's always fun. But then I think, I mean, he's an educated director from the Danish National Film School and all back in '99, I think. It's a long time, maybe '97, maybe even his brother Stefano Gonzalez is a went to the same school and graduated, I think, 2 years after Shaky. But both of them, I think, kind of, I don't know if I'm exaggerating if I say they kind of lost the pleasure in making films, but they have faced so much financial difficulty getting their films made. They both have a lot of awesome ideas, but you know, it's a shame because they're very 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 talented directors, both of them.
Yeah, it would be nice that you
Yeah,
would have.
it would be really nice, and I'm trying in my own way once in a while to motivate, especially Shaky to get started. But I mean, he's if you're listening, Shaky, sorry about this, but he's an older guy now. He's about 50, and he has a family and all. I think he's just kind of whatever. He's
Yeah,
been struggling for so many years to get his films made, and he has gotten films made and gotten them out. But I think it's just more struggle than it's worth. I think that might be the right way to interpret what he's saying.
yeah, it is a shame because I personally would like to see more films of this type,
Yeah,
like action films.
you should see the Grey Gold, which is a film we did, which was came out about 3 years ago. I have not a very big part in it, but it's a very fun film about a couple of two senior citizens who is evicted from their apartment, and they see no other reason to than to rob a bank. But of course, it has to be like a nice little fun robbery where nobody gets hurt, stuff like that. It's a quite funny film. It's very good.
And
That
that's
was
a
in
Danish
cinemas
film?
about 3 years ago. It's out on DVD now, at least here in Denmark, I know. So it's I mean that's I think that was his last film at this point. And oh, you mentioned Sean Rana with Westbrick Murders as well.
Yes.
Westbrick Murders is a very interesting piece because he did just about everything himself on that film. At least 90% of everything on that film is done by him, except for the acting. Yeah, but I think that's just about the only thing he didn't get involved in. But I don't think, to my mind, he hasn't made anything since Westbrick Murders. I did speak to him a couple of maybe last year or 2 years ago, um, and I know he is trying to get a couple of projects off the ground. Searching for money. The same old story.
Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, Westbrick Murders. That I did a brief scene for back in 2006. Well, it's 10 years ago again, I think. Uh, that is, as far as I know, still the last thing he's done.
Yeah, Westbrick Murders was 2010, so
Yeah, it was.
6 years.
Yeah, it was released in 2010. Yeah,
Okay.
but it was shot actually quite a long time before that.
Oh wow. That's a long time though, but it is a feature movie, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Eric Roberts is in it, and Vernon Wells from
Yeah.
Bennett from Commando, and he's in one of those Mad Max films as well.
How did he get them though?
I have no idea. I didn't meet any of them, uh, but yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't do it for free, which is fair enough. So he must have found some money somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, but maybe if the DFI is changing, or maybe you even have some other fundings for film in Denmark, then maybe you guys can try that.
Yeah, I'm open for anything. I mean, I love making films. It's just I would really love to avoid that nightmare again with paying out of your own pocket and in most of the time never see those money again and paying out of your own pocket and pretty much doing most of the work yourself. Again, I did have very good friends helping me out. So, but it is hard work, especially when you have to do other work on the side because you're not making any money out of the production you're doing. So you really have to want to do it.
Yeah,
And
seems.
I get it. It's a struggle, and I mean I complained earlier about people never finishing their films, and I completely get it. I really get why because I've I faced so many times in my own things where I just, oh man, fuck this, and god damn it, no. And but what I do is usually I put it on the shelf for a week or something like that, and I usually find the willpower to get back into it because I I I hate to see things unfinished.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it is a struggle, and you have to be willing to take that struggle. But like I said, in the end, it's all worth it. Hopefully, I mean, for me, it has been all worth it. So I hope it's gonna be all worth it for everybody else as well.
Yeah, I mean, so that could be our closing line. That.
Yes, we've been talking and rambling for a long time now. No, it's been fun.
Yeah, but you can sum it up basically in this closing note that it's a hard work, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, we could quote the good old Lloyd Kaufman and just say, "Make your own damn movie. Just do it."
Lloyd Kaufman?
Lloyd Kaufman,
The,
Mr. Troma, yeah.
yeah, he made the opening comment on one of your films, right? Was it
Oh, a
Husted?
Harvest, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's been doing a lot of stuff for my films over the years.
Oh, that's so cool.
You should actually, you know what, you should if you can schedule it with him, I'm gonna give you his email address. You should probably actually try to make a podcast with him. That would be interesting. But I have to warn you because the guy just keeps rambling on about perverted stuff, and he's. I love him, but he's not all well.
No, that's fine. I like people who can talk.
Oh, he's demented, but he's awesome. He's really awesome. And he can probably, I mean, he can probably talk for 8 hours unless you stop him.
Cool.
But he's great. He's great, and I can really recommend his books as well if you want to really get into ideas of and strategies in making your own damn movie.
Definitely. So if I mention you, then he will know that I'm serious.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I hope it's not gonna destroy anything if you mention me. I don't think it is. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead and do that. That could be interesting. I would definitely listen to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. He's crazy.
Yeah, you made the Huston. Oh my god, I'm just pronouncing it with Swedish,
No,
so
no, that's
sorry.
actually right. Houston. Yeah,
Yeah, Huston. So
Harvest. Yeah, and he made an introduction for that. He was in Denmark about 2014 to attend. We have this festival here called Bloody Weekend, and he was there hosting a screening of his old film Toxic Avenger. And I met up with him there and spent a couple of days with him. And I was in New York last year as well and visited him. And no, it was a lot of fun. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He can be a little hard to schedule things in with sometimes, but it's definitely worth a try, and it's gonna work out.
yeah, and
You're
it's
not gonna regret those hours. I promise you that. He's gonna give you a lot of insight, and I mean, he lives in New York, but a lot of the things he can tell you, pretty much. I mean, it goes all over.
okay. Because you made that film a year ago, so he should remember you, right?
Oh, yeah, he remembers me. I've known him for about 10 years.
That's great.
I just personally met him the first time about, well, 2014, but I've known him for, well, 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, because I actually don't know too much about him, just his movies. So he
That's a shame. You really should. You should check his books out. They're very entertaining and educational at the same time.
and he also does independent productions.
Man, you have to look up. You have to look trauma up. Trauma is the definition of independence.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I
Shame on you.
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really watch horror movies, so it's really
Well, they've done a lot of. Well, there is mostly horror. True. You should check out the his superhero movie, The Toxic Avenger. I think the first one was made back in the mid '80s.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Oh, okay. He directed it and produced it, and well, that is a trauma film. That's the definition of a trauma film.
I saw it like when I was really small, so wise.
Oh, the good old VHS days. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
those were the days. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, I really have to be going. I'm sorry. I have another appointment at 7, which is in about 20 minutes.
No, that's perfect. I mean, we
But
made it in time.
yeah, yeah. It's been fun, Thomas. And next time you're in Copenhagen, definitely let's meet up. We didn't get to do it last time, but next time let's definitely do it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have some stuff to do here, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we are working on a project right now. Um, can't really mention too much about it, but
Yeah.
I have
No.
to say that one of the characters was inspired by you.
Oh wow, now I'm getting curious.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Well,
always.
make sure you give me a chance to see the film when it's done.
Oh, it's gonna be more than a film, though.
Now I'm
Something,
really getting curious.
something really
Oh, that's
crazy.
cool. That's cool.
All right. So, are there any? I'm not going to say last words because it sounds like you're gonna die.
Oh, I
But
hope not.
is there
I
anything you want
hope
to
I
say?
hope to live a few more years yet. No, not really. It's been fun. I mean, this is the first time I've ever done something quite like this, and it's been fun.
Yeah. So I'm just going to close it. Um,
Yes,
so thank you, Kim Sønderholm, for coming to our podcast for
you're
United
very
Film,
welcome.
and wish you so much luck and
Thank you.
success with your projects, and also money that you need to make them.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah. Yeah, and you too. You too.
Okay. So I'll see you some other time. Bye bye.
Definitely. Definitely. Take care.